Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. SeKo Starcraft back after a very, very long hiatus. Long in the grand scheme of me doing casting. It's been about a couple weeks since I've been in here. I just finished moving, so I'm excited to get back. Casting a few games, so you hear lots of great content up. We've got Stephano versus Taeja for the first group that I'm sending out to you guys. But I was just checking through the replay databases, and there is so much great content. A lot of things happening with the Homestory Cup coming towards playoffs. MLG just happened, so I hope you guys had a chance to check that out. Hyun versus Polt was a fantastic finals. Congratulations to Polt. Maybe I'll be able to find some of those replays here in the next little while as well. Anywho, I believe this is just before the playoffs of the Homestory Cup this game is brought from. So Stephano and Taeja, this is still kind of in the group stages of things. Obviously, Taeja's being a total beast. It's nice to see Stephano still playing at the top of his game or next to it. Haven't followed up more recently whether or not there's going to be any more details to Stephano's retirement or so forth. But for the time being, we're going to speed it up slightly because it's going to be fairly standard from the looks of it for both these players to start with. We're going to get the infamous command center first. Looks that way. Yeah, if it gets delayed too long, you might as well just build it on the high ground. There isn't too big of a reason. Do you see how he traded out the hurt SCV to keep building? Keeping the other one here. Can you reach it? Oh no! Oh, that's so crappy when that happens. I know, because I try to do it all the time when I play Zerg. You feel so great about yourself when that does happen. Oh, he does get the SCV. Yeah. He's trying to juke it. Oh, he gets a second one. Well, that guy's a little beast. Come back, you computer. I believe in you. 2 kills for the Predator drone. Isn't Predator drone the actual name of the drones that they use to shoot down people in Afghanistan? I don't know. Anyways. Couple of queens now on the way for Stephano. Do we have any gas yet? No, no gas, which likely means a very fast third should be popping up here soon, I would predict. Stephano just kind of wants to see the timing of when this command center goes down. It doesn't look like he's going to pressure it with anything anyways. Handful of Marines out. It's gonna be pretty low tech for the next little while. First gas just finishing up for Taeja, and we don't even have a gas yet for our Zerg player. Instead, the third base. We're gonna spread a little bit of creep here, hopefully connect all these bases up. There's no Reapers out of our Terran player, so he doesn't have to worry about that. 3 barracks transition to, even before factory is down. It looks like Taeja wants to deny the scouting. What has Mr. Stephano seen? Well, he hasn't been able to see that it's 2 barracks follow-up. But I don't think there's anything too much to concern him at this stage anyways. Creep's well underway. No overlords out on the map anywhere. I'm starting to see more players on the Terran side using that one Viking to go around and shoot down overlords. Holt used it to great effect during the MLG games and then the finals. There were Vikings that had 5 or 6 kills on them before they were finally stopped. And each overlord's $100, so you guys can do the math. It's pretty worthwhile to try if you've got the resources to pump one out with your first medevac. These small little marine timings are usually super effective, just because if you catch a Zerg player with no units on the map, same as this, he's just gonna let this die. There's nothing he can actually do to save it. The creep hasn't moved far enough for his queens to help, and he's got not a single Ling out on the map yet. So, that's gonna go down pretty easy. You see the Taeja's microing his marines towards the back in case Lings were coming up. You'd still have a better chance of taking this down. This Terran timing against this hatchery is very, very positive. So he's gonna try to run out of there before he loses. Oh! Try to get a surround there. Pretty clever from Stephano. He did actually manage to get 1 Marine controlling those bad boys independently. Getting up his upgrades on this side. Do we even have our engineering bays out yet? We do not. Factory's just started too. Only one tech lab down. Combat shield's about to finish up. Another command center. So super low tech, low gas opening out of Taeja. It's allowing him to pump up a pretty good economy and a really big number of marines. Only one marauder in there. We'll see if he actually wants to use that to push out in a little while. Or if he's just going to wait for medevacs, perhaps. That too. It's just 3 roaches right now out of Stephano. Come on, computer. I know I just moved you, but you can still love me. Let's see. Yeah. What that managed to do is actually scare Taeja slightly that there might be a roach bust happening. It's very popular on this map because of how wide open the front is, and if you don't have tanks out, which most Terrans don't rush for tanks anymore, you need to bunker up because a Baneling roach all in on 2 bases is pretty effective. So we see 2 more bunkers going down out of Taeja just in case. We do have a pretty good chunk of roaches just piling out here for Stephano, but if he was going to go for an attack, his timing is pretty far off. I'm assuming these are just going to be defensive because by the time he gets down here, this bio army, well, Stim's halfway done. If that Stim finishes up, these roaches will just get demolished. Roach speed should finish up 50 seconds. Well, the roach speed will finish up before the bio does. These roaches will get away just fine because the Stim isn't there yet. Probably should, I was about to say maybe cancel those creep tumors. You can see he's posturing a bit with his roaches here, so he can defend the creep tumors. Stephano gets scout off. He sees the timing of the 3rd command center. Sees the 2 engineering bays. He doesn't know what status they're at, but he knows that they're researching stuff. You see them moving slightly. And he sees all the gases in play. So he knows pretty much the timings of the Terran player. Lots of roaches. 1-1 already finished. 2-2 on the way. And if we look at the Terran player, 1-1 isn't even finished yet. We'll be finishing up just around 2-2. So there's going to be a great opportunity for Stephano to potentially do a lot of damage here if he catches this Terran player out in the open. He's going for the Hydra Roach composition. I generally don't like this composition against Terran because if you start losing engagements, the bio army is just too easy to replenish. It's very hard. You get very diminishing returns with the Roach Hydra combination against Terran, I find. Sometimes it works against mech because you are more mobile than mech, but against bio, the only thing that really gives you an advantage is the Hydras have the opportunity to shoot down the medevacs. Ooh. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then he melts away. Supply-wise, Stephano has a little bit of a lead, but once again, he's building it off of Roach Hydra, so his supply is going to jump up pretty fast. His 3rd base is quite delayed, though, and there's no saturation here. Not building any drones at the moment, either. Whereas we see that the 3rd base from the Terran is pretty much on par. I would have hoped to have seen a 4th base from Stephano at this point as well. Because there's so much buyout, ooh, I like the tank mix in here. That's really good. I don't think you can do it with the tanks. No. The concussive shells are really going to screw things over for Stephano here as well. The bio is getting melted because of the upgrades. But, yeah, that was actually really bad from Stephano. His 2-2 just finished up after that engagement. So once again, this bio army is going to get replenished really fast and healed, whereas this army of Roach Hydras is going to take much longer to get out, and it's much more expensive. Look at the income tab here. Pretty big lead on minerals here out of Taeja, and the mules are doing a pretty good amount towards that, but he even has a worker lead. It's only now that Taeja is somewhat catching up in that. This is a pretty good little move. It just forces the Terran to come back usually, but it looks like he might be able to surround things. Looks like Taeja doesn't want to take that chance. Stephano's going to pull back as well. Excuse me. This annoys the hell out of me when I'm playing Terran. Is when it's like one overlord or overseer just sitting in your base, and you're just too busy to do anything about it. So supplies, we just saw a pretty big spike out of Stephano because of the roaches in production. But economy-wise, the Terran's just on too good of a footing right now. And I think that's really going to hurt Stephano in the long run. There's no real urgency out of Taeja right now. He's got his 3 bases, he's got his tech on the way, he's got a great defensive position with tanks. He's in a pretty good spot. He doesn't have to worry too much. He will have to eventually consider getting a 4th base. He doesn't have a command center built yet for that. But it's going to be next to impossible for the Zerg to really come in here and break this. It looks like Taeja's going to move out now, and this is a really interesting timing, and this might get base tradey. Generally that favors the Terran because of their mobility and they can lift up their building. So let's see if this is going base tradey. What's going to happen here? 2 hero marines stim in. Oh, Taeja is going to come back. Oh, if he gets those 2, yeah, great pull. You see that the worker's already been pulled away. These are such risky moves to do as any player against another, is to go for the base trade when your army is going to get trapped. Your army is very valuable. You might think if you just take out enough production facilities and upgrade facilities that you're going to be in a good spot. But if you don't trade very effectively and you don't have a bank, your opponent can just walk across the map and portal you. Now, +2 attack did finish up for Taeja. So he's gonna at least have that going from. Did that command center got lifted? Okay, good. It looks like this is actually doing a pretty good amount of damage from Taeja. Workers killed quite a bit. If you look at the worker totals, you see over a 20 worker lead now for the Zerg player. So even though he lost his entire army, he might actually be in a pretty good footing. This base is not mining though, whereas there's still the 3 bases up for our Terran player. Man, that one roach is just not dying. There he goes. So Taeja is back to making 3 SCVs at a time. He does have a 4th command center going towards a 4th base. Stephano does have a little bit of a bank. You see he's putting into roach hydra once again, but his supply is lower. I don't think Taeja is confident enough to move out right now, but if he did, he'd probably actually be in a really great position. Keeping active on the map is really nice. You see him just taking this opportunity to kill as many creep tumors as he can. He's just going to lift up, separate his medevacs. This is kind of sneaky. I don't know if this is going to work out in the grand scheme of things. I almost never see these middle bases work out except for super late game. I like doing it as Terran because you can just drop an orbital, throw down like 8 mules, mine a whole bunch, and if it gets attacked, just lift up and run away. Looks like he sees that that's there, so he's just going to come down here and cancel this without too much problem. He might not actually be even worried about it at all at this point, knowing that this isn't mining anything yet. These fungals are going to be pretty important right now out of the Zerg player. Let's see how well Taeja can split up his units. That got quite a bit. Tries to throw down some infested Terrans on the tanks. The Zerg player can't go on these 4 tanks that are here. Zoning out any potential bases on this side. He actually can reach that with his tanks. Here, that's pretty crazy. Another group of armies is going to go around the north. It looks like it might get intercepted. If he sieges up, he might actually be in good position still. This should be enough Zerg units to deal with this, but it's getting very clumped up here. He's going to lose a lot of his army to try to take out this position. Whereas you see Taeja's already pulling back to a more defensive position, pushing in on the natural. Handful of workers go down. Looks like they're gonna try to get down to this gold base, maybe make a couple of bucks before they die. Taeja's in a pretty good position, though Stephano does still have a bit of a supply. This army is gonna be really tough to kill now that the tanks have the high ground. See, these roaches are gonna try really hard to snipe down these tanks. Pretty good heads up for Stephano. Is going to save most of his workers. Now he's just kind of juking around with one little medevac here, knowing that most of the army for the zerg players all over the place. Looks like he's not focusing too much in general. There he goes. Now he's got a little bit more for target fire. Another pretty good amount of army out here for Taeja. I don't know if these Vipers are really going to pay off here. I mean, he could do some blinding clouds, but the bio is mobile enough that it should be able to get away just fine. This medevac is going to chill out till the next time to drop. I encourage people to start doing this as well as a Terran player, or putting it in the back of your base if you're playing against another Terran player. Having those 3 or 4 Marines in a bunker, it's super worth it for Ling run-bys, Zealot run-bys, Hellbat drops. I'm even considering doing that a little bit more often in my main, just because of how much it can save you just having that small investment there. Stephano's still got a pretty good bank here, but it's all in minerals. He lost his gases down on this side, and he lost the workers that were originally making gas. Good little snipe there. Actually took out another hatchery and gets away with both of his medevacs. Almost loses one. Looks like he just wanted to clear some creep and put some pressure on, and he's going to fall back. Bit of a supply block right now for Taeja. You know, when all else fails, drop lots of mules. Pretty big bag of gas for Taeja here. Those mules are going to help him really kickstart a whole bunch of economy. Spire starting up again. I'm not too sure what Stephano can really do at this point. He's in such big shambles. And he did get this remade. He's got the gas retaken here. This has started up again. It looks like he's going to snag that and bring it back and kill it. Yeah, that's always a fun thing to do. Oh, he actually built a sensor tower in the north to look for run-bys. Good chunk of roaches, but he can't really afford to lose these. For the upgrades, 2-2, 3-3, so 2-3, plus 3 for his mech and his bio armor. Will be finished up here soon. Stephano just really hasn't had the gas to get those upgrades finished off. Good little amount of army going around the north. Stephano does not know about this yet. Maxed out Taeja, Stephano at about 140. It's a good chunk of infestors here. See if we get a nice blob. Blinding cloud at the top of the ramp, that's kind of effective. Stephano did get the cancel off on that hatch. Gonna try to split up his army to deal with this as best as he can. That was a pretty good amount of tanks are gonna keep most of that alive though. 7 locusts. That's weird. Let's see how those work out. I'm not too certain. Looks like he sniped off one of the tanks. Well, there's them swarmosts. If he can use those appropriately to zone out the attack from the south, he might be able to clean up the one from the north. Let's see how these work out. Good fungals. There's some great fungal opportunities in there. blob up on that one spot. That was kind of a waste. Be interesting if you could upgrade spine crawler damage and armor. Looks like there might be enough for Stephano to maybe clean that up. He is going to lose his last mining base essentially at the same time. He's trying to sneak a base to the bottom right, but he's never going to get a chance to use it. There's the scan. I was about to say, he's just going to lose a lot of his units if he doesn't eventually scan these things down. There's the GG. Pretty good game out of Taeja there. I think Stephano got close. The sort of base tradey production attack, though it did a bit of damage, it was more about getting economic damage, and I think he could have got that same economic damage without sacrificing as much of his army. Anywho, that was game 1 of a best of 3. I should have game 2 for you guys here pretty quick.